alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Soul Sisters. You're tuned into Oman FM. This is your host, Mayya Al alongside with Vanessa Mehri. Vanessa, today's topic is one we're excited about, aren't we?
Ooh, can you tell?
Yes, I can. So today's topic might seem a bit like, even from the title, you might be thinking, what? Toxic family members? But they do exist. And as serious as it is, it's our reality. And with us in the studio today, I'd like to welcome Aziza Al Bahlani.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. I hope today is going to be a fun one, to be honest.
I think so too.
Yeah.
The fact that people might be wondering, okay, why did we decide to have you? So I follow you on Instagram. Yeah, and I love your content. And one of the things I love about you, Aziza, I might have never told you, is that I love how real you are.
Thank you.
And how authentic you are and the topics you talk about. So toxic family members is something that you had highlighted. And I thought, oh my goodness, so I'm not the only one. Well, not to say that my family is toxic, but a lot of comments have come through various stages of my life. And so you put a story up and you were asking your followers if anyone was toxic to them during their life and what they said. So, and what was the outcome of that?
It was a lot of some very funny, some very sad, to be honest. But the reason I do that is because I feel like we want to feel like we're related in somehow to, the social media world. A lot of people keep it very serious and I want to make it a little fun. So got some very interesting answers, to be honest, when it comes to toxic family members. They will say, unfortunately, some inappropriate stuff. Some stuff will be funny. Some stuff will be made up coming out of love. I think they think it's love. But in another sense, for us, it just drags us into another hole, which is not a nice hole to go into.
It just seems off. Like, I would think, why is somebody saying this? Like, I don't know whether to be serious or whether to laugh or what, but the tone that usually comes up is serious.
No, it is. My question to you girls is, what do you define toxic as?
I actually looked this up because I like to have some point of reference. So apparently, what does it actually mean to be toxic? Let's take the word. So according to a doctor who is in clinical psychology, I won't say the name, or I should, but I'll just kill it, Perputa Neo. So previously wrote, a toxic person is someone who regularly displays actions and behaviors that hurt others or otherwise negatively impact the lives of the people around them. And they're usually the main instigating factor of a toxic relationship. So here they're talking more about like if it was like a husband and wife, father, daughter. But in the community that we live in, it's not necessarily from that kind of perspective. For some, yes, but the point that we're referring to is not. No. I actually wanted to call this toxic auntie because it's usually, the aunties out there from their loving hearts have this way of communicating stuff that just seems toxic. And I think as well, this is what Aziza, from your stories, you got it was, I think you mentioned either toxic aunties and uncles.
Yeah, because for me, when we say toxic aunties and uncles, by the way, it doesn't have to mean my mom's sisters or my dad. Literally, when we say aunties in our communities, you can mean any auntie. Like,
out of respect.
Out of respect, you say auntie and uncle. So for me, I know that it might come from a place of love, but the way it's said is like traumatizing to someone because you don't know what they're going through at the end of the day. And for me, like during my first pregnancy, I was in a different mindset, whereas now I'm just laughing at a lot of things that were said previously, and it's just funny to me. So when I had that tag, basically that Instagram question that I sent and came back with a lot of weird, funny stuff, I was like, oh, okay, it's funny now, compared to before where it was a bit traumatic for me. So, for example, someone would basically, you'd be asked, oh, why aren't you having kids? For example, all the time, why aren't you having kids? And then when you have 2 kids and you're having a third, come on, you need to stop. You're having too many kids. And I'm like, which one is it? Is it, we're having too many kids or we're not having too many kids? It's never enough, basically, and that's what's the funny part about it. You're trying to get that balance of getting these type of toxic negativity all the time. Or one of my favorite ones, I'm not going to mention names, let's try and keep it respectful. But for example, during my first pregnancy, a sambusa plate would be like, pushed to my husband, but a salad would be pushed to me, things like that. And it's like, to them, they're like, oh, we're just looking out for you. But in your head, you're like, swear to God, I just want that sambusa.
Yeah, just give it to me, please.
I'm hungry. Do you know how many calories we lose breastfeeding babies? Like things like that, So I think these are the balance that you're trying to
those
get.
Sly, loving remarks. I mean, I think I certainly have experienced them.
Yeah.
Very recently, because I'm still, I've had a baby recently.
Yeah.
Like there's still the extra weight hanging around, and you'll get those subtle remarks. Oh, I can see you're eating a lot of your food that you're making. Yeah, of course I am. What am I supposed to do? Shove it in the dustbin?
I'm sorry we're laughing. I know at the point where you received this might not be funny, but now hearing about it, just the audacity of somebody saying it to you, it's just like, wow. And there are no words.
I had a recent one as well. You're saying recently? I had a very recent one. One of my aunts said it twice. First time she said, "Oh, you still have the weight," and I'm like, "Oh, auntie, I just had the baby, da 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 da," and I just laughed it off. And then recently she said it again, "Aziza, the weight is still not off," and I'm like, "Auntie, I just had the baby 2 months ago. Can I have a break? It takes 9 months to have the baby."
There's no button to push like, "Khalas, we are done. The baby has left the building." Boop.
Yeah,
go.
Exactly. You're supposed to just slim back down like nothing happened in your life.
So having said all of that and listened to all of this gives an insight as to what we'll be talking about. But we'll do so right after this break. Welcome back to Soul Sisters on Oman FM. So if you've tuned in earlier, you might have heard us talking about the topic for today, which is toxic family members. So why are we doing this show? Yes, we want to highlight these family members, or maybe not family members, but somebody in your environment who keeps saying things to you. So the reason that I really wanted to have this show is to make sure that anyone who you feel this is you, can you stop doing or saying these things, have empathy for who you are talking to. And second of all is for those who are victims of this, like, how do we deal with this? How do we deal with somebody who's constantly bringing you down with their words, be it in your family member or somebody at work or in your surroundings? So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's very important to acknowledge or be able to see when you are a victim of this. Because a lot of times we're conditioned to kind of ignore things that come from especially people in our close circle, like family members, now I mean literal blood family members, the close aunties. So when you're given remarks, you're conditioned to sort of brush it off. It's normal. It's nothing. Don't take it seriously. And then you're now left with an internal battle for why is this bugging me? If it should be normal, is something wrong with me? No. Something is wrong with them, not you.
Okay, so Aziza, I ask you because I think the both of us maybe have encountered this a bit more than Vanessa, with all due respect. So my question to you is, how do you draw the line to, is this something toxic or is like, I'm just being sensitive?
I think to start off, like actually what Vanessa said, to start it off and then come to you, Mayya, is I think it's generational. There was a picture that I saw a while ago actually, where the dad talking to his son and saying toxic stuff, and the son talking to his daughter and saying toxic stuff, and then there's a line drawn where the daughter now finally doesn't speak that same way, like she's like her grandparents, and speak, and there should be a line cut and like a draw. This is where I feel like this is the generation that's changing that. So I think it's generational when they say brush it off, because they were told to brush off a lot of trauma, a lot of things that happened in their lives. They didn't understand what was depression and anxiety. I mentioned this to Mayya before, that basically when we grew up, I didn't even understand what was depression and anxiety until recently, until I was, I think, 28, 29 when I went through it. So for me, it's very important to even understand that. And if you're trying to explain it to your parents now, it's, why are you getting bothered? Just put it in this ear and let it out the other. Like, it's just words that, that shouldn't bother you. But it's a lot of things that bother us. So draw the line? For example, if you are doing it unintentionally, you can be, I feel like everyone can be toxic sometimes, and you don't realize you're being toxic. You want the best for someone. And for example, you want your friend to get pregnant, for example. You'd be like, oh, are you having any, difficulties? What's happening? You want to talk about it? You don't know that she's in the background doing IVF, and she's been doing that for 5-6 years, and she's been trying. And to you, you're, alhamdulillah, for us, it's like we had our babies and they're trying, So I feel like it's important to reflect, first of all, and when it comes to the negative family members telling you the toxic stuff, it's to inform them that you don't like what's being told and you draw the line. Because if you just keep ignoring it and, as you say, trying to brush it off, it will just create a bigger problem later, and you will just blast off one day. And that's not, I think, what we want to do to our families. We should draw the line and say that these things are bothering us, and then stop it with our kids as well. Try and change it,
Could a good starting point be minding your own business? For example, you gave a good example, right? Being concerned for your friend, wanting them to have a child. Should you be asking her that question if she hasn't reached out to you?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That's her story to tell you if she chooses to.
But again, going back to that example, what if I'm asking from a point of concern, as it's not intended for me to make her feel bad or look, you're not having a baby,
you're not trying
what's
to
happening?
make her talk. Yeah.
No, you're just like, it's out of love and concern. But I think the tonality and the way the message is delivered has a great weight as to, is it toxic or is this coming from a place of love?
That's a very fine line of a fine line, though, yeah. So you need to know where is it actually coming from. I agree with both of you, because sometimes you do want someone to mind their business and not ask you questions, and sometimes you're close to the person, but maybe they don't know how to ask for help or ask for something. And the moment you open a small door to tell them that you're there for them, everything else comes out.
I think one way, going back to the question I asked you earlier, how do I know if something is toxic, or it's like maybe I'm just going through something and I'm too sensitive, maybe it's the time of the month or whatever. It's like, this is not from any study, this is just me thinking out, as reflecting as in positions I've been before. If a comment has been shared with me or said to me, and if it lingers for days, and it's always in the back of my mind, well, she said this, maybe I'm like that, I'm like doubting. Exactly, I'm doubting myself. That's one way of knowing that this is toxic, because it's manifesting, like it's coming up as really negative for me. And the second is, if I see that person again, it's like, oh my God, is she going to ask me again? Is she going to embarrass me again? Or he? So you now constantly have a negative reference point when it comes to this person.
Exactly. I think it's the trigger for me. Yeah. Like something would be said and I will like think of a gazillion things. Like he said, did he say this because of this? Or did she say this because of this? Or for women, صراحة, يعني, a lot of times for women, it's the body shaming. We're expected to have a baby and then slim down and then have a baby again and gain weight and slim down. It's like a game. So for us, for example, a lot of it is the looks of how we look on a daily basis. One day you're not having a good day, so you're not in a smiley mood, but all of a sudden, if you just give them that type of mood, you're taken as, oh, look, she's not in the, like, look at her today, she's giving me attitude, or
Buono me fura Leo.
Exactly. You get it, right? So I think it's the triggers that remind you, and it's exactly that, it keeps lingering in your mind.
Okay, so is there some truth to what they're saying?
I think yes, sometimes. I this question to me is like, what do you think, Vanessa?
Look,
Vanessa's like, mind your business.
Yeah, I am really, honestly, I'm for the mind your business, because is there truth to it? Yes. Is there truth that you should lose weight? Probably.
Exactly.
Is there truth that you have this big pimple on your forehead? Yes. Do you not know it?
You
do. They know it. Yeah. If you're talking to somebody about weight issues, hello, there's mirrors all over their house. They know these things. You do not need to address it, okay? My little girl, I'm bringing a personal example.
Okay.
She's a teen. And, you know, some teenagers have a funky teeth stage where everything is all over the place, right? Okay. So her student, the fellow peers, and nobody's bothered about it. Nobody's mentioning it. The people who mention it are the adults around her. When are you going to fix your teeth? When are you going to get braces? We need to sort this out. This is not nice. Why is it your business, first of all? It never bothered her up until that point.
Yeah.
You're a grown up. Come on, you're a grown up. Don't you think twice before you say something to a child? And the sad part, which really gets my blood boiling, is this is just about braces. I have had adults speak to parents about their children's weight. The parents know, and trust me, the child knows. You do not need to go and meddle in their affairs and mention it. That's just my opinion.
I think it's like I said, it's generation of the truth will set you free. You know, that type of mentality of, they used to say all of this to us and we never used to get upset about it. Another example is my son has long hair, curly hair, mashallah, beautiful hair. And I like to keep it long.
I remember this.
My son, you guys did whatever you wanted with your kids.
Yeah.
This is my child. Leave my child be. So I do get a lot of very horrifying comments and I had to draw the line and I didn't... For me, like, I'm the mama bear, so I didn't care who I was talking to. I didn't say anything disrespectful, but for me, I had to draw the line. My kids, please do not say anything. Like, you're saying everything to me is fine, but when it comes to my kids, do not mess with my kids.
I think coming from the background of the aunties, it's like, well, if nobody says anything, I said, Mimi Mwambi, I told her.
But there's no need.
It's not a competition.
Exactly. There's always a competition.
There's no award like Anna Mwambi. I told them and they didn't listen. Hiya, khalas,
it's like
they the awards. Here you go. Well done.
You know what I always tell them? Like every time they mention my son's hair, I'm like, I still remember having all those pictures with everybody's afro and, you guys brushing out your hair and that stage of life. I'm like, so why are you bothering me when I'm braiding my son's hair? He looks neat, don't bother my son. Or even my nephew, for example, has beautiful curly hair. And every time they're like, one day I'm going to cut your hair. And I'm like, leave him be. He's like 10 years old. Like, let him enjoy his hair. Let him live life. He will go cut it whenever he feels like it. It's just hair. It grows. It's not a big deal.
Really interested to see what your thoughts are on this. Leave us comments, get in touch with us, and we'll come back right after this break. Welcome back to Oman FM. This is Soul Sisters, Mayya Al Saeed, Vanessa, Mehri, and the lovely Aziza Bahlani. We're talking about toxic family members. I wish we were recording during the break because so much good stuff came out. So these toxic family members, how come nobody stops them? Like, they just keep going and they keep getting stronger and we keep getting weaker. Like, what's happening? Why can't anyone put them...
Sounds like an Energizer battery ad right now.
Why can't someone, tell them something, advise them? Why is it just okay?
Honestly, I have my own ways of stopping now. Please
share.
I started, like for example, we have events where we always go to. I stopped going to those events. And these are events I would go to since I was 7 years old. And I just said, you know what? It's like, how you're saying boycott? I boycotted it. And I said, until you guys realize that you guys are hurting people's feelings, I'm not going to show up. And it worked, by the way.
Yeah, but that's very extreme.
That's the only thing that worked for me. It's because صراحة, يعني, I had to do that and boycott and not go to something that I've been raised with and I loved going to. But it worked because at the end, they started, why aren't you coming? And I'm like, ask who. I didn't, ask. She will tell you why I'm not coming because I've already told her to inform you guys why I'm not coming. And then at the end, it did work. Now it's better. An example was, a lot of us in Oman, we have curly hair. And one of the things, like when you go to a wedding, generational again, they used to do a lot of the, let's say, I don't, we're talking about hair now. They used to always, what's it called? Straighten their hair, but with chemicals and all of that. Relaxer. Thank you. That's the word. And until this day, they've been using relaxers their whole life. And when we come in with our beautiful curly hair, we're like, yeah, girl power, look at my curls and, Kantu and, Auntie Jackie and all of that. And they're like,
you can't go to...
Why are you going to the wedding like that? You don't look nice. and you really
And you
put
feel
effort.
so good at that time. You even like twisted your hair nice.
Exactly. And I went, to my niece's house, and she did all my nieces have the most beautiful
Yes,
curly
they do,
hair, mashallah. And I love the fact that they love it. Their hair is open all the time. They know how to braid now. They look after their hair. It's barely like straightened. I love it. My whole life I used to want to straighten my hair all the time. So going to weddings, imagine as soon as the auntie see you, not nice.
That's just wivu, jealousy.
Can I share a story? So this is Aziza, you're talking about your hair. I remember once going to a wedding, and of course, even when I go to a wedding, I go covered, sorry, with a scarf. So she goes, bless her heart.
What is this?
She goes, Mayya, there are salons, yeah? I looked at her. She caught me. I was like, what does she mean? I'm like, yes, auntie. She's like, it doesn't take long to do your hair. You go 1 hour to the salon and they can do your hair. I'm like, I had the strength. I said, I responded to her. I said, I know, auntie, but I choose to wear the hijab. I want to wear the hijab at the wedding. She's like, oh, why? You should let your hair out. I don't want to let my hair out. It's
Why is it disturbing you? Sorry. Oh
God. For me, that's just a lot, like too much. There's no need. You are feeling yourself. Let us feel ourselves. And that day, I was already at a better place in my life.
Yes.
I'll be honest. And when they said that, this is a funny story. I had 2 weddings in a row. 2, like let's say a Friday and a Saturday. The day that they saw me, I was wearing my curly hair. And they had their comments. And I was like, say what you want, aunties. Like, I love my hair, don't even. And then, all of a sudden, the next day, like, the comments got even worse the next day. And it made me, the wall I built up, it just crumbled down. And at the second wedding, I was crying instead of, enjoying. And the bride, my cousin, is like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. And I'm like, I'm going to miss you. Yeah. I'm not exactly, but it really crumbled the wall that I've been, self-love and, love your body and love your hair and love yourself. So I feel like as much as I was strong and I went through all of that, it still hurts me. It's hearing those words. And that's when I boycotted and I was like, that's it. Done. I'm not going. I'm just going to, stay by myself. And I did that for a while. And then I felt better and, went back.
I think if someone's listening and they're going through this, I want you to know that if this doesn't stop, you will become not immune to it, but you will have, I don't know, say the word numb. No, you will have more tolerance, and hopefully you will realize, it's within your power in a way to stop it, either by responding like I did, or taking action drastically like Aziza did and just simply boycotted them. So it is within your power. Like, you allow how you want to be treated. If you don't like the way you're being treated, say something. Like, there's how is it okay for them to say whatever it is and hurt you, and you are just there just to receive?
And just to say that at the end of the day, we love them, but your words sting, just saying. But we do love you.
If you're out there and you're listening to this and you have curly hair, curls are beautiful. I just want to put that out there. Please
Not
embrace
curly hair,
it.
everything about you. Your weight.
You're beautiful. But specifically, I'm specifically touching on curls because I know it's a big issue. My sisters all have curly hair. And I have heard this talk throughout.
Yeah.
And I know how toxic it is. Okay? So love yourself. You are stunning.
Now, we've talked a lot about women and, because the 3 of us are women. And this is something, Aziza, you pointed out during the break. You said, look, we're talking, it's all about women issues. Let's, talk about the issues that our brothers face, the men in the family, because they also, people say things to them. And maybe because of the way society is, men are macho, men are strong, they don't get hurt.
They don't cry.
Men do have feelings. Yeah. And there are things that people will say to them that will hurt them as well, but they're not entitled to show it like we do as women. So brothers, we do hear you, we know you, and we know what you go through. Even though you don't speak it, you don't share it, we know that you get hurt too.
It doesn't matter if you don't have that house yet, if you don't have the fancy car yet, if you're not married yet because you're waiting for the right person. It doesn't matter. You do you and stay strong. We see you.
One more thing I want to add. It's not only about the comments that people say, it's also the inappropriate questions. Like, how much is your salary?
Ooh,
mind your own business.
You can't say that. Some people, you just answer.
My parents raised me to never ask that question.
Yes.
You know, the funny part is, I remember as a young child, I wasn't old enough, and I asked my mom, how much do you make as a young child? And my mom was like, oh, you don't ask this question. And she never told me. And until this day, I have no clue what my mom and dad were making. And I feel like that allowed me to understand that I shouldn't be asking that question either. If you want to tell me, go ahead, but I'm not going to ask you.
Listen, there's websites for that, okay? Glassdoor.com. If you need to know what somebody's making, go and Google it. I don't know.
Okay, Vanessa's really not in a good mood. This topic is close to heart. Is there something you want to share, Vanessa?
No, I feel like I just need to be the soldier of the voice of the voiceless right now.
No, but questions like why? Like, why aren't you married yet? Like, how is somebody supposed to answer that? Like, isn't it obvious? I haven't found some. Why aren't you having children? Astaghfirullah. Ask God, why aren't we having children? Like, what kind of questions are people asking?
I got one comment that said, you're the model of the family, you know, so why aren't you married? How come you're not married yet?
The model is a criteria, huh?
You know?
Listen, again, how many cases do we know, okay, who have succumbed to that pressure of, why aren't you married yet? And then they decide, okay, I'm going to get married. I'm just going to say yes to this person that has been brought before me and agree to it and just run with it, right? And then 1 year later, bye-bye.
Exactly.
And then
We've
they
divorced.
Why are you divorced?
What
Why
happened?
Yes,
You
exactly.
didn't fight for it.
Did you try? Maybe you didn't.
try.
Maybe you didn't try hard enough. Huh? Did you cook for your husband? Did you do
you
this?
clean?
Okay.
You know your
Okay,
responsibilities.
I think they get the gist of it. Thank you, Vanessa. But anyway, these things are part of our society, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode, because these are things that are not shared, and we want to be real, relatable, and authentic. So there's one more story I want to share, then we can wrap it up. I remember I was, I don't remember how old I was, but she commented on my eyebrows. Now, usually people say, why don't you do your eyebrows? So this auntie went, why you only did the middle part?
Oh, God.
Why you left the rest?
Oh, God.
I told the auntie, I didn't do my eyebrows. Oh, you did. You are naturally like that. I'm like, yes. Like, again, why are you nitpicking on things that are really personal? Like, as Vanessa said, I can see myself in the mirror. I can see that it's like I don't have hair here.
I know it's there.
Like, you want me to have hair? And then what's the gist? When you ask people questions or when you have something to say to somebody, can you please really think like, why am I sharing this with them? What do I want from this person? Do I want an answer? Do I want to upset them? Like, what's the why behind the question? Like, really, if I ask Aziza, like, how, like I asked you today, how is it being a mother of two? Like, this is a general question. Like, how is she? Because I know it's a change. Like, I'm generally concerned about Aziza. But there's no shaming her,
Exactly.
no making her feel bad, not embarrassing her. So before you ask the question, would you be comfortable if somebody asked you that question? Ask yourself that before voicing it out.
Listen, if you need to get all up in somebody's business, especially women on women,
it. That's so
please just tell them you have lipstick on your teeth or your label sticking out. The rest, just leave them alone. Amma, you've got tissue on your shoes. Leave the rest alone. No weight talk, not pimple talk. No, they know. Mind your own business.
That's the message from Vanessa, to mind your own business. Anything that comes to mind, Aziza, before we
wrap up, like, alhamdulillah, I think all of us sitting here, very strong women. I say I'm strong too, okay?
You are.
Okay. And I know that we have gone through that, but there are people who are going through it now and they don't know how to react to it and they don't know how to, like, just tone it out of what they're going through, basically. So it's important to also know that you're not alone. I got through it by therapy. I didn't get just through it just for the sake of getting through it. It didn't just go in here and go out the other ear. So I went through therapy to get through it. And I know that you can even do that. If you don't want to speak to a therapist, you can speak to someone who's close, who will guide you the right way and not tell you. If someone tells you, just don't listen to them. It's not important. That's not the right comment, or that's not what you should be hearing. You should be hearing that whatever you're feeling is validated, and it's important to mention to those people that you're not liking what's being said, not just, let it go.
And also, in addition to what Aziza said, speak to that person. If that person is constantly making you, hurting you with their words, just have they have the audacity to speak to you about it. You have the strength to say, look, auntie, uncle, friend, whoever it is, what you said really hurts me. I appreciate that, blah, 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 but I'm really offended. So could you please not say that again? Full stop. So you have the power.
That's a good, respectable approach to take with it, because a lot of people feel like they're going over eggshells. Like, I can't tell this auntie or Bia something because I'll be disrespecting Bia or whoever. So that's a good kind of, I guess, diplomatic way to put it.
Sometimes people are scared of being confronting, I think.
You need to, though. I have my soldier over here. Yeah. So many times when I'm struggling with something, madam over here will be like, what? This is what you're going to say, okay? And you don't take this. And you don't take this. And you know what? She's helped me through a lot of that. So I think also having good support system is very important.
I agree.
So thank you, my girl. Don't leave me hanging.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
Anytime. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much, Aziza, for sharing.
Thank you for having me. And inshallah, I'm back with the Soul Sisters next time.
Please, we love you. Anytime.
Whenever you have a cancellation, call me.
You should be a first option, not the last one.
Oh, that's so nice.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. And tune in next week. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.
Thank you.